Welcome back. Now I would like to show you how to add the second layer, which the compost is doing great on the bottom, and it's time to add new food to a top tray, and this will be the working tray. So the worms will then migrate through this grate that's placed on top. So once the worms are done with all the food in this layer, they'll be able to start on the second tray, which you can see, which will be this one. So what we have here is core and some shredded newspaper, and I'll add a little bit more newspaper shortly, but you want to add some water, not too much though, and start mixing it around. So you want it to be pretty damp, but not soaking wet. And if it gets a little too wet, you can just squeeze out the water. So this is going to be the bedding for the worms in the other tray. Gets a little bit messy, but this seems like it's doing the trick. And then we're also going to add a little bit of pumice to it as well for aeration. So I think this actually looks pretty good. It was about 4 cups of water, but it depends on how much core you've added. So now I'm going to add a little bit of shredded newspaper. As before, these were my notes from class that I no longer need, so I'm just going to shred it up a little bit more. Probably would be best if it was finer shred, but my cameraman is telling me to add more core. I think, yes, we can do a little bit more. Definitely going to make a big mess here. I'm going to wash my hands real quick. This is how I cook too. It gets very messy everywhere. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more water. While my hands are a little bit more clean, I'll add some pumice stone. And this was sent, the pumice stone was sent with the Worm Factory 360, but it's what makes it easy to set up. And so now I'm going to add some of the compost from the bottom tray. This is still pretty big, but I think the worms can handle it. And I also sometimes add shredded newspaper if the whole system gets a little bit too wet. Kind of makes it a little bit better. And now I'm going to try and find a place where there aren't too many worms, so I can just add some compost. And I read also that when you see all these little baby worms, that's good news, so they're reproducing just fine in there. And as the Worm Factory 360 says, healthy worms are happy worms. So I think I'll probably add 2 handfuls of this. Let's see. Do 1. Very nice and rich. Well, there are a lot of worms in that one. That one. Okay. A little bit more. Ooh. Okay. Looking good. All right. I think, oh, there's some worms in there. I don't think that should be too much of a problem. they'll get started early. Okay, so now, I have not yet done this before, but I believe I'll be removing this guy. Oh no. And this will be the top of the other tray, so it'll allow the worms to come up. I know, but I have to getting some more direction from my cameraman. I'm gonna move this. It's fascinating, isn't it? Okay, so I'm gonna put this in a place that isn't gonna probably my sink, so it's not messing up my whole kitchen. And shred this up just a little bit. The worms are looking good. That'll be fine. Okay, now that will now become the working tray and no new food will be added. And here, I'm gonna start this. I'll add that on top maybe later. Let's see if I may not eat it. Okay. Looks like I may need a little bit more, but we'll get the gist of it. So now, I'll probably add a little bit more, and you start adding the food in a zigzag pattern. Any way you want, you can start this corner, but that seems the best way that I've seen in the bottom tray. And I will probably use my compost in the bottom tray in my garden at home, so I think that's it for now. We'll be back with updates soon, so thank you for watching.